In a quiet valley surrounded by sweeping hills, there lived a girl named Lily. At just 13, she was small for her age, but her heart was big, full of dreams and hopes. Lily had no family to call her own. After her parents had passed away in a tragic accident, she found herself alone, trying to make sense of a world that felt so unkind. Lily lived in an old, abandoned barn on the edge of the ranch owned by a gruff man named Mr. Thompson. He was known for his fierce demeanor and booming voice that echoed through the valley. The townspeople whispered stories about him, saying he had lost a son years ago, and since then he had become a wall of stone, untouched and unreachable. But for Lily, Mr. Thompson was more than just the man who owned the ranch. She had never met him, but she watched from afar, fascinated by the way he cared for his horses. Each day she would hide behind the bushes, her eyes glued to the herd running wild and free across the open fields. They were beautiful creatures, a mix of dark browns and shiny blacks, their manes flowing like waves in the wind. She longed to touch them, to hear their gentle nicker, to feel a connection. One chilly morning, when the fog hung low over the ground like a soft blanket, Lily woke up with a stir in her heart. This was the day she decided to be brave, to speak to Mr. Thompson. She had heard stories of the well-behaved horses he kept and the care he gave them. Apart from her dreams, they were her only comfort. With her heart pounding, she stepped out of the barn. The cool air brushed against her face, invigorating her like a splash of cold water. She knew the risks. If Mr. Thompson caught her too close to his property, he could chase her away, just like the other ranchers had done before. But something inside her pushed her forward, a flicker of hope lighting her way. As she approached the corral, the horses stopped and stared, their big eyes glistening with curiosity. The sun peeked through the trees, casting golden rays that danced on their backs. It was a sight that nearly stole her breath. With shaking hands, she reached out toward the nearest horse, a tall chestnut mare named Bella. Just as she could feel the warmth of Bella's nose, a deep voice shattered her moment of bliss. Boomed Mr. Thompson, his silhouette towering over her like a shadow. Lily jumped, her heart sinking. "I was just looking," she stammered, taking a step back. "Looking, huh?" His eyes narrowed, scrutinizing her as if trying to see through her hesitation. "I live in the old barn," she whispered, wishing she could disappear into the ground. He studied her for a long moment, and Lily's breath caught in her throat. She could see the deep lines on his face and the exhaustion behind his dark eyes. She braced herself for a lecture about trespassing or warnings against getting too close to the horses, but what came next surprised her. He asked, his voice softer now, the storm that brewed moments before fading just a bit. "No, sir," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I would never hurt them. I just love horses. They make me feel." Mr. Thompson looked at Bella, who had taken a hesitant step closer to Lily, her nose nudging for attention. Something in the rancher's expression shifted, and for the first time Lily saw a glimmer of warmth behind his tough exterior. "I guess they make you feel safe," he said, almost to himself. He seemed lost in thought, wrestling with something deep within. And that was when Lily made her bold move. "Can I ride one?" Her heart raced, praying he wouldn't dismiss her. Mr. Thompson stiffened, and Lily felt the weight of his hesitation. He had lost a son, she had heard. Maybe that memory made him wary, but something in her gaze must have stirred him, because he took a breath and said, "You want a ride?" she exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. "All right," he said reluctantly. "Earn it?" she asked, her excitement bubbling. "You'll help with chores around the ranch," he said, his voice gruff again, "every day after school." Lily nodded eagerly, unable to believe her luck. She spent the next few weeks working hard under Mr. Thompson's watchful eye. She mucked out stalls, filled water troughs, and even learned to feed the horses. Each task, though exhausting, filled her heart with purpose. She felt stronger as she cared for the horses, each day drawing closer to her dream of riding. But there were tougher days too. Sometimes she would stumble, dropping a bucket or tripping over a hay bale. Every time she did, Mr. Thompson's frown would deepen and doubt would wrap around her heart like a vine. Was she really earning her place here, or was it all just a dream fading away? Yet each time she felt weary, she would steal a glance at Bella, her chestnut coat glowing like a flame. That sight fueled her, and she pushed herself harder, refusing to back down. With every passing day, Lily learned more than just ranch work. She learned about perseverance and the grit it takes to chase after dreams. Then one sunny morning, Mr. Thompson walked towards her with a look she knew well, the crinkle in his brow, the flicker of determination in his eyes. Her heart soared. "Yeah," he said, and for a moment she thought she saw a smile tug at the corners of his mouth. As he led her to the corral, her heart pounded like the drums of a great parade. She couldn't believe it was finally happening. Mr. Thompson helped her mount Bella, his hands steadying her, and in that moment she felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. "Hold the reins gently," he instructed, his voice softer now. Lily took a deep breath, her little hands gripping the reins. Mr. Thompson walked beside her, guiding Bella as they moved slowly at first. The ground felt different from up there, like she was floating on a cloud. The thrill made her giggle, and the sound echoed across the ranch, filling the air with pure joy. "Now let's take it up a notch," he said, and her heart raced, nerves and excitement spiraling together. With a gentle squeeze of her legs, she felt Bella shift into a trot. The world around her turned into a blur of greens and browns, and before she knew it, they were galloping. Wind whipped through her hair, making her laugh, the sound mixing with Bella's powerful strides. Mr. Thompson shouted, pride shining through his voice. For Lily, it was the moment she had always dreamed of, freedom and joy intertwined. He felt alive, a sense of connection she hadn't felt before, not with just the horses, but with Mr. Thompson too. After that first ride, their bond began to change. Mr. Thompson spoke more, his stories weaving in and out of their conversations. He told her tales of the valley and shared the painful memories of his son, who had shared a passion for horses just like her. In return, Lily opened up about her parents, the love she still felt for them, and how the horses filled the void in her heart. Days turned into weeks, and with each passing moment, she felt less like a lonely orphan and more like a part of something bigger, a family made of both horses and hard work. Mr. Thompson's gruff walls, once unyielding, started to melt, revealing a heart that had remained hidden for far too long. But on one fateful day, the shadows returned. A storm rolled in, suddenly dark clouds swirling overhead. The ranch was bustling as they hurried to secure the horses. But amidst the commotion, Lily felt a knot of worry in her stomach when she noticed Bella hadn't come in from the pasture. She called, but the wind swallowed her voice. Without thinking, she raced out into the pouring rain. Fear gripped her heart as she searched for her beloved horse. She slipped and stumbled, mud caking her shoes, but she couldn't stop. Heart pounding, she kept calling. Finally, through the downpour, she spotted Bella standing near the fence, frightened and restless. Lily could feel the bond between them pulling her closer. "It's okay, girl," she shouted, her voice filled with desperation. But as she approached, she tripped in the mud, falling hard. She felt the sting of tears threatening, the fear creeping back. Just then, she heard Mr. Thompson's fierce call behind her. Lily, but it was too late. Bella, startled by the thunder, reared up, her hooves striking out in panic. In one swift motion, Lily pushed herself up and reached out, instinct taking over. She pleaded. Mr. Thompson rushed forward, commanding with authority. But with her heart racing, she couldn't stop. She needed Bella to trust her, to feel safe. As she took a step closer, Bella hesitated, her eyes wide with fear. "It's okay, Bella," she whispered, grounding her voice in warmth. "I'm here." The storm raged on, but in that moment, time felt still. Gradually, Bella's breathing steadied, and the tension in her body began to melt. Slowly, step by step, she approached Lily, the fear dissipating like the storm clouds above. Just when Lily thought she could reach her, the darkness closed back around her. She felt a pulling sensation and realized she was falling again, not in mud, but in her mind, fear and uncertainty wrapping around her. Mr. Thompson's voice broke through, firm but steady. "You can do this, you trust her." Lily rallied, focusing on the bond they had forged together. "Come on, Bella," she called, her voice cutting through the storm. "I know you can do this." Finally, Bella took the final step toward her, and Lily wrapped her arms around the mare's neck, breathing deeply, feeling the warmth of her coat against her cheek. Mr. Thompson finally reached them, relief flooding his face. "You did it, kid," he said, pride spilling from him. In that storm, through the chaos and fear, something beautiful formed between them. Mr. Thompson, the stone-hearted rancher, found a spark of trust in his heart, while Lily realized she was no longer an orphan defined by her losses. She was a girl who had found a family in the ranch she had once only dreamed of, bridging the gap between loss and hope, woven together by a bond that could tame storms. As the clouds cleared and the sun broke through the darkness, Lily knew their journey was just beginning. There would be more challenges ahead, but like riding Bella, she was ready to face them, all with Mr. Thompson and the horses beside her. Lily crouched behind a thicket, heart racing like the wild hooves she watched galloping across the field. She had never seen anyone ride like that before, graceful, powerful, and free. The rancher, Mr. Thompson, seemed to dance with the ebony stallion, their movements synchronized, a testament to their deep bond. In that moment, Lily felt a longing so fierce it burned in her chest. She wanted that. She desperately wanted to ride. Just a year ago, Lily had been a cheerful girl with a family, but life twisted like a cruel prank. An accident took her parents away, leaving her alone in the world. She found shelter in an abandoned barn not far from Thompson's vast ranch, where horses roamed, their spirits unbroken. The barn had become her refuge, a place where she could escape into her dreams of galloping through the valleys like the riders she admired from a distance. But that world felt so far from her reality. Every day she watched those horses, their coats shimmering in the sunlight, those rhythmic gallops echoing like whispers of freedom. As the days passed, she grew more daring, sneaking closer to the boundary, touching the fence just to feel the heat radiating from their bodies. From her tiny makeshift home, she would whisper sweet nothings to the horses, sharing her joys, her fears, all the things she couldn't share with anyone else. But Mr. Thompson loomed over those dreams. With a reputation of being a hard man, he seemed to carry a weight of loss on his shoulders. People whispered that he once had a son, a boy who'd shared a love for the horses until that love was cruelly snatched away. Mr. Thompson had become a fortress, impenetrable and cold, leaving no room for anyone or anything to soften him. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue across the fields, Lily stood by the fence, watching the horses run. Wind tousled her hair, and for that moment she felt hopeful. But as she contemplated her next move, she spotted Bella, a beautiful chestnut mare with intelligent eyes standing apart from the herd. There was something about Bella, an understanding deeper than words. Suddenly, without thinking, Lily climbed over the fence, a decision that would change everything. She felt the grass beneath her feet, the thrill of stepping into a world that felt so forbidden but so right. Whispering a soft, "Hello, Bella," she took a cautious step forward. Bella looked up, nostrils flaring, assessing this brave little girl, but just as she reached out to touch Bella's warm neck, a voice thundered, startling her back. Mr. Thompson lumbered toward her, each stride powerful and intimidating. Fear gripped Lily's heart, but something else sparked to defiance. "I just wanted to see her," she managed to say, forcing herself to hold his gaze. "You're not supposed to be here," he replied, his voice hard like granite. "These are my horses." "I would never hurt them," Lily replied firmly. "I love horses. They make me feel," she hesitated, unsure if she should share the truth. For an instant, she thought she saw a flicker of something in his eyes, perhaps recognition or even pity, but it vanished just as quickly. "Get out of here," he commanded, voice thick with layers of unapproachable hurt. Lily stumbled back, her heart pounding with sadness and rejection. She turned quickly, fleeing to her barn, tears streaming down her cheeks. But even in her despair, that flicker in Mr. Thompson's eyes haunted her. He knew loss too. Days passed, each one a weight upon her heart, but her longing to connect with the horses only grew. Each morning she would watch them, their beauty reminding her of the love she once had. Desperation gnawed at her. She couldn't let Mr. Thompson's gruffness be the end of her dreams. Then came the fateful day. Armed with courage that felt borrowed, Lily returned to the ranch late in the afternoon. The sun hung low, casting golden streaks across the fields. She needed a plan, some way to make Mr. Thompson see her, not just an orphan, but someone who understood the hearts of the very animals he tended. Against every warning in her head, she approached him as he stood mending a fence. "Mister," she called, her voice a mix of nervousness and determination. He looked up, his brow furrowed. Taking a deep breath, she said, "I want to help, I want to work for you." He eyed her skeptically. "Why would I want your help?" "Because I love them," Lily replied, her voice strong. For a moment, the air felt heavy and thick with expectation. Mr. Thompson studied her closely, his expression a storm of conflicting emotions. After what felt like an eternity, he sighed, irritation flickering in his eyes. "Fine, you can help, but don't think for a second I'll go easy on you," she exclaimed, unable to hide the excitement bubbling within her. In that moment, she felt lighter, the heaviness of loss shifting slightly. And so began her journey on the ranch. As the days turned into weeks, Lily found joy in the rhythm of hard work. She cleaned stalls, fed the horses, and learned how to brush their coats until they shined. Mr. Thompson, though still stern, started to notice her dedication. He would sometimes catch her humming to the horses or talking to them about her day, and a tiny smile would briefly split his stoic face. "I see you're not just a silly girl," he would say, his tone begrudging but softening like winter melting into spring. Every night she would return to her barn, exhaustion heavy in her limbs but a fire igniting her spirit. For the first time since her parents passed, she felt seen and valued. The ranch was starting to feel like home. But the real turning point came one stormy evening. Dark clouds rolled in like a warning and the wind howled through the valley. Mr. Thompson had given the order to bring the horses in before the storm hit. The tension in the air was palpable and everyone hustled to secure the animals. Lily heard thunder rumbling, her heart quickening as she scanned the herd. Her eyes landed on Bella, who was still grazing, seemingly unaware of the impending storm. Lily yelled, rushing toward her. But the noise and chaos scared the mare away, pushing her deeper into the field. Mr. Thompson shouted, but fear had taken over. She couldn't abandon Bella, she had to save her. Ignoring the rain that pummeled down, she pressed forward, desperate to reach Bella. But just as she got close, a loud crack of lightning split the sky, startling the mare. Bella bolted, racing away, and Lily felt panic grip her heart. Mr. Thompson's voice boomed, but she was already sprinting, fear pushing her beyond reason. "Bella," she called, but the horse continued to run. In that moment, Lily felt the gulf between her desire and reality yawn wide. She reached the edge of the pasture, watching helplessly as Bella galloped further into the woods. And then, just as despair threatened to swallow her whole, she heard Mister. It was a command, but there was something else, a plea hidden within. She turned to find him rushing forward, adrenaline fueling his every step. As the rain lashed against them, she could see the worry etched on his face. He yelled, and together they surged into the storm, side by side, unified by a mutual goal. The image of the stern rancher, so often hardened by loss, shifted before her eyes as they forged through the pounding rain. He shouted over the noise, clenching his jaw, and Lily shook her head. But suddenly a flicker of movement caught her eye, a flash of chestnut against the dark bark of trees. "There," she cried, her heart leaping with hope. Mr. Thompson took the lead now, his instincts commanding the way. "We have to calm her," he urged, closing the distance. Lily nodded, her resolve igniting like a flame. They maneuvered through the thickets, and there, under a pine tree, Bella stood trembling. She looked scared but was still at the edge of panic. "Stay back," Mr. Thompson warned, assessing the situation. Lily stepped forward, her heart thundering but her voice steady. "It's okay, girl, you're safe now," she cooed, reaching out her hand, trembling with fear and determination. For a brief moment, Bella continued to back away, but then something shifted. Maybe it was the gentleness in Lily's voice or the shared understanding of fear. Whatever it was, Bella took a cautious step forward, nudging Lily's palm with her soft nose. "Just like that," she whispered, tears mingling with the rain. Mr. Thompson watched the scene unfold, the tension in his posture softening. "Good Lily." With renewed courage, she climbed closer, her hand brushing against Bella's side. Together, they slowly formed a circle of calm amid the storm. "Let's go home," she said softly, and in that moment all the pain and loss faded. The world narrowed to just these two souls. Mr. Thompson approached slowly, now willing to work together. They moved as one, Lily guiding Bella forth while Mr. Thompson stayed close behind, his presence reassuring. Finally, they emerged back into the light of the ranch, drenched but alive. Mr. Thompson opened the gate, and Lily led Bella into safety, their breath mingling. "Did well," he said, his voice surprisingly warm. As the storm receded, the air felt lighter, as if a barrier had lifted between the two. Lily realized in that moment she was no longer just the orphan in search of belonging. She had earned a place here, beside Mr. Thompson and these incredible creatures. From that day on, things changed between them. Mr. Thompson offered a reluctant warmth, sharing stories of his son and allowing Lily into that part of his heart that had long been sealed away. With every ride on Bella, their bond deepened, creating a new family that formed amidst loss. In the years that followed, Lily grew from that small girl into a confident young woman, one who dared to dream as big as the sky. Mr. Thompson became more than just a gruff rancher. He was her mentor, the man who guided her through storms, both literal and emotional. And every time Lily rode through the fields, Bella beneath her, she felt the joy of that first gallop, the sense of freedom raining upon her like a blessing. For in the heart of two misfits, a lonely orphan and a grieving rancher, hope had found a place to flourish, and together they forged a new story, one filled with love, loss, and the unbreakable bonds that tether us to one another. Lily crouched behind the old wooden fence, breathless and wide-eyed, as she watched the rain-soaked ranch come alive before her. Horses galloped across the field en masse, their powerful hooves striking the earth with a thunderous rhythm that echoed in her chest. It was mesmerizing, almost like a dance filled with energy and freedom. But amid this beauty, a deep ache settled in her heart, a longing so profound it hurt. Just 2 years earlier, life had been filled with warmth and laughter, but in one terrible moment, everything had changed. An accident took her parents away, and with their departure, the world had turned cold and lonely. Now orphaned and alone, Lily lived in an old barn on the edge of town. Abandoned by everyone she had known, her only companions were the flickers of memories of her parents and the horses that roamed the sprawling ranch owned by the rugged and stoic Mr. Thompson. The ranch seemed like a world apart, an oasis of life in her otherwise desolate existence. She spent countless afternoons hiding in the bushes, watching the horses from a safe distance, letting her imagination turn the elegant creatures into companions in her mind. Outside they were wild and free, but to Lily they were everything she yearned for: love, adventure, and a sense of belonging that had been ripped from her. But there was one horse that called to her more than the others, a majestic chestnut mare named Bella. With her smooth coat and soulful eyes, Bella was the embodiment of grace. Whenever Lily saw her, she felt a flicker of hope, as if somehow Bella understood the pain she carried inside. But each time she looked at Mr. Thompson's fierce face or caught the hard edge in his voice, that hope felt like a fragile glass bubble in wrong move, and it could shatter. Then one fateful evening, as storm clouds brewed overhead, something snapped inside Lily. Just one glance at Bella, standing elegant and still against the darkening sky, set her heart racing. She couldn't sit back and watch any longer. Summoning all the courage she had, Lily climbed over the fence and ran toward the mare. As she approached, the wind whipped through her hair and rain began to fall in heavy drops. Thunder rumbled in the distance, but she had made her choice. Bella lifted her head, uncertain but curious, and in that moment time seemed to stand still. Lily reached out a hand, feeling the warmth radiating from the horse. But just as she was about to touch Bella's neck, a booming voice shattered the tranquility. Lily froze. Mr. Thompson stood there, drenched and imposing like a storm incarnate. She felt tiny compared to him, her heart thudding loudly in her chest. "I was just trying to see her," she stammered. "This is my ranch, not a playground for orphans," he snapped, his voice heavy with authority. Despair unfurled within her. She found herself shouting, surprising even her own ears. Mr. Thompson's expression hardened, but for a fleeting second she thought she saw the tiniest flicker of something in his eyes, an echo of pain that mirrored her own. But before she could grasp it, he shook his head, dismissing her like an annoying fly. "You don't understand what you're asking." With heartache carving paths in her chest, Lily turned and ran back to her barn, tears streaming down her cheeks. Yet even in her sadness, a new fire ignited within her. She decided then and there that she would prove herself, that she would earn a place on the ranch, earn the right to be near the horses, earn a chance with Bella. The next day, with a deep breath and renewed determination, she returned to Mr. Thompson's ranch. The sun shone brightly, contrasting sharply with the darkness that had followed her the day before. She could feel a surge of hope as she stood in front of him, heart racing. "Mister," she called out, her voice steady but tinged with nervous energy. He looked up from where he was tending to the horses, irritation flickering in his eyes. "I want to work for you," she declared boldly. "Let me help around the ranch." He shot her a skeptical look, crossing his arms as if weighing her words. "Why would I want a little girl mucking out stalls? I can do it." It was a plea wrapped in stubbornness. "I love them." In the heavy silence that followed, she braced herself for his rejection. But after a long pause, he sighed deeply, a hint of frustration in his eyes. "Fine, but don't think for a second I'll go easy on you." "I will." Her excitement bubbled up like a fountain, and she fought back the urge to jump. And just like that, the days turned into weeks filled with sweat and toil. Each morning, she woke before the sun, eagerly anticipating the tasks ahead. At first, Mr. Thompson's gruff nature intimidated her. He barked orders, pointed out mistakes, and rarely offered praise. The hours were long and the work exhausting, but she felt something slipping into place with each chore, an undeniable connection to the horses, to the ranch, to Mr. Thompson himself. As Lily mucked stalls and carried bales of hay, she grew stronger in both body and spirit. She learned the rhythms of the ranch, familiarizing herself with every sound, the rustle of horses in the paddock, the sigh of wind through the trees. And with every brush stroke on Bella's coat, every whisper in her ear, that soft bond deepened, tethering her to the mare in ways she could hardly explain. After a while, she noticed Mr. Thompson watching her, not with scorn but with a newfound respect. It was subtle but unmistakable. His gaze lingered a bit longer, and even his commands became a touch softer. He began to share bits of his life tales of his son, who had loved horses just as fiercely. Each story felt like a puzzle piece, and with every fleeting memory, she felt Mr. Thompson letting down his walls, slowly allowing warmth to seep through his exterior. But the storms weren't just outside. That winter, a heavy snowfall blanketed the ranch, and one fateful day, a terrible frost swept through, leaving the ground icy and treacherous. Lily had been hard at work, checking on Bella when she noticed one of the younger horses struggling to trot due to the slick ground. Without thinking, she rushed to help, slipping several times in the process. Panic shot through her as she watched the horse wobble dangerously, teetering dangerously close to the edge of the fence. Mr. Thompson's voice boomed from behind her, but Lily's concern drowned out all reason. She couldn't back down now. Just then the horse fell, legs flailing in desperation. Lily's heart raced as she sprinted forward despite Mr. Thompson's shouts. "Lily, don't," but her mind was made up. As she reached the frightened horse, she knelt by its side, whispering sweet, calming words. "It's okay." With her small hands, she brushed the snow from its fur, feeling the warmth beneath her fingers. Mr. Thompson caught up, out of breath but still strong. He grabbed her arm, pulling her back as the horse continued to struggle. "You can't," but with her heart pounding and determination fueling her, she spoke with clear conviction. "I can do this." He hesitated, and in that moment she felt a shift within him. Recognizing the resolve in her voice, he stepped aside, his expression shifting to something softer. Just like that, she took charge, reassuring the horse with gentle caresses and soothing words. She felt the tension start to drain from the animal. Slowly, as if understanding her intention, the horse began to relax. Finally, after a struggle, it managed to right itself, standing shakily but confidently. The air thick with tension began to ease as the horse calmed under Lily's care. Mr. Thompson watched, amazement flickering in his eyes. "You did it," he said, a hint of pride breaking through. At that moment, she felt a wave of warmth wash over her. It wasn't just relief, it was a spark of connection. For the first time, she realized that her bond with these animals extended far beyond simple companionship. Here, surrounded by the horses and the man who had once seemed so forbidding, she found purpose, a sense of family unfolding. As the days turned into months, their bond grew more resilient, woven together through shared challenges and quiet moments alike. Mr. Thompson became a mentor in every sense, teaching Lily about horses, ranching, and life itself. They would work side by side, and sometimes an easy conversation would slip into the air, sharing jokes or laughter as they tended to the animals. Then came a sunny afternoon in early spring when Lily stood in the paddock, her heart racing with excitement. Mr. Thompson had told her she was ready to ride Bella in now. The moment she had dreamed of was finally within her grasp. With butterflies in her stomach, she climbed onto Bella, the powerful mare responding instantly to her every touch. Mr. Thompson stood nearby, watching, a bemused smile breaking through his usual stern facade. Taking a deep breath, Lily nudged Bella forward, and in that moment freedom enveloped her. They rode together, weaving through the fields, wind tousling her hair. With Bella beneath her, Lily felt unstoppable, the worries of her past slipping away like shadows in the sunlight. That's it. Mr. Thompson called, and Lily beamed, pride swelling in her chest. But then, as they galloped across the pasture, a sudden roar of thunder swept through the valley, sending Bella into a panic. She reared back, and for a split second, Lily's heart raced with fear. Mr. Thompson shouted, moving to her side, but Lily, though scared, remembered all the lessons she'd learned. She clung to the reins, speaking soothingly to Bella. "Easy, girl. As Bella's frantic movements calmed, she gradually settled down and Lily felt the adrenaline surge through her, mixing with a quiet sense of victory. She had conquered more than just a ride, she had faced and overcome her own fears. When they finished, Mr. Thompson walked over, a mixture of pride and warmth in his eyes. "You've come a long way, Lily. You really have," he said, and for the first time, he didn't just sound like a mentor, he sounded like a father. Tears pricked the corners of her eyes, but she fought them back, instead allowing herself to smile. "Thank you for showing me the heart of this place again," he replied, and in that moment they both understood that the bond they had built was something profound and unbreakable. From that day forward, the ranch became a sanctuary, not just for Lily but for Mr. Thompson too. They worked side by side, sharing both sorrow and laughter. The horses became an extension of their bond, and with every ride, every chore, and every challenge they faced together, they stitched a new family from threads of loss, hope, and love. Through the seasons, their connection only deepened. Lily transformed from a shy orphan into a confident young woman, her spirit ignited by the very animals she had once only dreamed of riding. The ranch prospered, but more importantly, together they created a home filled with belonging, adventure, and a future that sparkled like the stars against the gloom of night. And so, the little girl who once stood longing behind the fence became part of something bigger, woven into the very fabric of the ranch, a place where she wasn't just an orphan anymore, but a daughter, a friend, and a rider who had truly found her place. In the heart of that valley under the vast sky, their story unfolded, a testament to resilience, connection, and the powerful bonds that arise from shared dreams and healing hearts. In the heart of a sprawling valley marked by golden light, an unexpected scene unfolded. A little girl, no more than 12, stood clutching the fence that bordered the Thompson ranch, her eyes wide with wonder and a touch of disbelief. She was an orphan, living in a world that felt cold and uninviting, yet her heart was alight with the thrill of a forbidden desire. She longed to be close to the horses that galloped across the open fields. There was one horse in particular that captured her attention, a strong chestnut mare named Bella. As Bella raced through the grass, her mane flowed like fire in the wind, and the girl felt a deep pull toward the creature, as if they were meant to share a moment of connection. Just then, the shadow of a man emerged from behind the barn, casting a long silhouette against the sunset. Mr. Thompson was notorious in the small town nearby. His rough exterior matched the calloused hands that had tended to the ranch alone since the loss of his only son. The townsfolk whispered tales of his hardened heart, of how he had shut himself off from the world after tragedy struck. That reputation rippled through the valley, sending a clear message: stay away. That didn't stop the girl, whose name was Lily. She watched Mr. Thompson from the safety of her spot, holding her breath as he approached the horses. They seemed to glide under his command, yet she could sense their fear. It mirrored her own fear of rejection, of being told she didn't belong. One warm afternoon, courage bubbled within Lily like a tide, washing away the fear that usually shackled her. Today would be different. Today she would talk to Mr. Thompson. The decision gripped her heart, and before she could reconsider, she clambered over the fence and approached the man who held her dreams in his hands. She called out, her voice trembling. Mr. Thompson turned slowly, annoyance scrunching his brow. He barked, his tone like thunder. "I want to help," she stammered, glancing at the horses that stirred uneasily at her words. He stared at her, his expression unreadable. "You think you can handle it? I know horses." The words burst forth, filled with urgency and sincerity. His eyes narrowed as he studied her, searching for something hidden beneath her brave facade. Lily's heart raced. She took a breath, trying to steady herself. "Because I love them, they make me feel." For a moment, silence hung between them like a heavy fog. The wind whispered past, carrying the sense of earth and grass. Finally, Mr. Thompson sighed, a hint of exasperation creeping into his voice. "Fine, but you'll work hard." A smile erupted on her face, and within her, joy fought to break free. "I will," and just like that, Lily's life began to change. Every morning she woke before dawn, the sun still hidden behind the hills. She wore her older brother's hand-me-down boots, too big and slightly worn, but they were hers. At the ranch, she was met with challenges that tested her strength and determination. There were stalls to clean, buckets to fill, and hay bales to lift. At first, her muscles burned and her small frame struggled to keep up, but she was relentless. She pushed herself through the pain, focusing on each task as though it were a piece of a puzzle leading her closer to her dreams. She worked alongside Mr. Thompson, who was gruff but undeniably knowledgeable. As the days passed, he began to soften toward her, a flicker of respect growing in his eyes. One day, as they worked together, Lily dared to ask, "Mr. Thompson, can I ride one of the horses?" He paused, looking away, remembering something buried deep in his heart. "I want to learn," she said, squeezing her hands together. With a reluctant sigh, he nodded. "All right, but it won't be easy, and if you fall, you get back up," she exclaimed, grinning from ear to ear as they made their way to the paddock. Her heart pounded as they approached Bella, who stood proudly among the other horses, her spirit untamed. Mr. Thompson helped Lily mount the horse, and in that moment she felt a rush of adrenaline surge through her veins. "Hold the reins gently," he instructed, his voice steady but stern. As they moved at a slow walk, Lily felt an overwhelming sense of freedom. It was as though all the fears and loneliness she had carried melted away with each gentle stride. But just as she felt the thrill of it, a sharp clap of thunder echoed in the distance, causing Bella to rear back in terror. Instinct took over. Lily tightened her grip. "Whoa, girl," she shouted, remembering everything Mr. Thompson had taught her, but panic tightened around the mare's heart, making her restless. Mr. Thompson barked, rushing closer as the storm threatened. In that moment, doubt crept in again. Would Mr. Thompson take her away? Would she lose this precious opportunity? Just as Bella was about to bolt, Lily's voice broke through the chaos again. "I'm right here, Bella." Slowly, Bella turned her head and their eyes locked. The fear began to ease, replaced by trust as Lily continued to soothe her. Within those few seconds, a powerful connection forged between them, a bond of understanding. Mr. Thompson stood still, watching the scene unfold with wide eyes. It was as if he could see the essence of his lost son reflected in this little girl who dared to dream big. For years, he had shut his heart off from the world, but now, a tiny flicker of warmth ignited within him. "Good job, Lily," he finally said, admiration seeping into his voice. As weeks turned to months, life at the ranch flourished. Lily grew stronger, both in spirit and body. She learned to ride, tend to the horses, and even help with some of the heavier chores. Each day spent with Bella deepened their connection, and with Mr. Thompson by her side, she felt less like an orphan and more like part of a family. But then, one icy winter morning, everything changed. Snow fell thick and heavy, covering the ranch in a white blanket. Lily felt a chill in the air that seemed to seep through her bones. She layered on her warmest clothes and trudged through the snow, eager to see Bella. Upon reaching the barn, she felt a sense of dread gripping her heart. Bella stood in her stall, trembling, while the other horses huddled together for warmth. "Hey girl," Lily said softly, reaching out to stroke Bella's neck. Something was off. Suddenly, Mr. Thompson burst into the barn, his face tight with worry. "Lily, I need your help." Without waiting for an explanation, they rushed toward the paddock, where she saw a young stallion struggling to stand after slipping on the icy ground. He thrashed about, panicking, and Lily's heart raced. Mr. Thompson ordered, rushing forward, but this time, Lily felt the flames of determination light within her. "No," Mr. Thompson hesitated before nodding, realizing that they would need to face this together. With a steadiness she didn't know she possessed, Lily moved closer, her voice calm as she reached for the stallion. "You're okay, I'm here." In that moment, time seemed to stretch. With every carefully chosen word, she felt a connection forming. Mr. Thompson worked alongside her, and together they managed to calm the stallion, coaxing him gently to his hooves. The storm that raged outside mirrored the whirlwind of emotions within her. They stood shoulder to shoulder, a partnership forged not in blood, but in shared moments, all the moments that had led to this transformation. Finally, as the stallion stood upright, stable once more, they stepped back, their hearts pounding from the effort but unified in victory. Mr. Thompson turned to her, his eyes softening. "You've got away with these horses, Lily." Tears welled in her eyes. "I could never have done it without you," she whispered, gratitude pouring forth. "And I could never have found this connection again if you hadn't brought it back into my life," he admitted, the weight of loss lifting ever so slightly. As the seasons passed, Lily's bond with the horses and with Mr. Thompson solidified into something beautiful, something that felt like home. They worked tirelessly, transforming the ranch into a vibrant place where love and laughter blended seamlessly with the hard work they poured into it. But the biggest moment arrived one fateful summer day. Mr. Thompson approached Lily, his eyes shining. Her breath caught in her throat. "Really?" "Yes," he said, a smile spreading across his face. "You've earned it." Joy erupted within her like fireworks lighting the night sky. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson." In that moment, as Lily stood beaming, Mr. Thompson realized that she had filled the empty space in his heart. In giving her a horse, he had also gifted himself something profound, a sense of family, connection, and healing that had once felt so distant. Lily and Bella became inseparable companions. Together, they rode across the fields, unfurling like ribbons against the morning sky, laughing in the freedom that came with adventure. Riding through lush grasslands and under bright blue skies, Lily felt a shift within her. She was no longer just an orphan. She was part of something bigger, a tapestry woven with love and trust. With each sunset that painted the valley, the bond between Lily, Mr. Thompson, and the horses deepened, transforming their lives forever. They had forged a family built on the ashes of loss, rising anew, intertwined with shared dreams and unbreakable spirit. As she looked out at the horizon with Bella by her side, Lily couldn't help but believe that life had more to offer than heartbreak. She had discovered what it truly meant to belong, a truth that echoed in the rhythm of hooves against the earth, in the laughter shared beneath the stars, and in the unyielding love of a girl and her horse. In that valley, they no longer stood alone, but embraced a future bright with hope, a story still unfolding, written in every galloping heartbeat, every whisper of the wind. And in the heart of it all, an orphan had become a writer, a friend, and a cherished daughter. Lily stood at the edge of the bustling ranch, eyes fixed on the horses galloping freely across the field. The dust kicked up like magic around their hooves, swirling in the hot afternoon sun. She could hardly believe her eyes. They looked so alive, so wild, and just so free. But it was the moment that a deep, velvety black stallion took a breathtaking leap over a fence that set fire to her heart. In that instant, she felt an overwhelming yearning, imagining herself soaring alongside the stallion, untethered and unstoppable. Once just a little girl with a big dream, Lily had quickly become an orphan after losing her parents in a car accident. Now, the world felt heavy and cold, like winter that never turned to spring. She had found shelter in an old, abandoned barn at the outskirts of the Thompson Ranch while dreaming of a future she could barely fathom, out of reach just like those galloping horses. The townspeople often spoke of Mr. Thompson, the ranch owner. They said he was a gruff man who had lost everything. He rarely smiled and rarely spoke. The sadness around him was palpable, a cloud that hung thick in the air. People said he had once been filled with laughter, but the loss of his son had stolen his joy. For Lily, he was both a figure of fear and fascination. She wanted nothing more than to be part of his world, to prove she could earn a place among the horses she adored. So she gathered her courage on this hot summer day, knowing she had to take a chance. Without thinking twice, she climbed over the fence and stepped onto the ranch property. Her heart raced as she made her way toward the paddock, feeling the soft, sun-warmed earth beneath her feet. Just then, she heard a booming voice cut through the air. Lily froze. Mr. Thompson stood towering over her, his expression fierce, a mix of anger and surprise. Her heart sank, but she couldn't turn back now. "I just wanted to see the horses," she managed to say, her voice trembling. "Seeing isn't enough," he replied, gesturing angrily. "Get out of here." A rush of determination washed over her, pushing her past the fear. "Please, I love horses." Tears welled in her eyes, but she fought them back, desperate to prove her worth. He scoffed, looking her over as if sizing up a stranger on a street corner. "And why would I need a girl like you?" she blurted, a flicker of hope igniting inside her. "I'll clean stalls, feed them, whatever it takes." For a long moment, the silence hung heavy in the air. Her heart thundered in her chest as Mr. Thompson's gaze narrowed, as if contemplating the audacity of her request. Finally, he sighed, rubbing the back of his neck as if weighed down by the burden of life and loss. "Fine, but know this, it won't be easy," she exclaimed, her spirit reminding her of the challenges that lay ahead, and so began her days at the ranch. Lily worked tirelessly, waking before dawn to muck out stalls and fill water troughs. At first, every chore felt monumental, each task a hill she had to climb. Mr. Thompson seemed perpetually critical, watching her with hawk-like intensity, never offering praise. But each day, she would make her way to the pasture to steal glances at the horses, practicing her skills while wishing for a moment on one of those magnificent creatures. Despite the hard work, Lily's determination never wavered. There were mornings when she ached all over, but she would push through, driven by the dream of riding, of flying freely alongside the wild stallions. She would whisper her secrets to Bella, the chestnut mare, the one whose soulful eyes seemed to recognize her pain. "Someday we'll ride away together," Lily would whisper, brushing Bella's mane as she inhaled the comforting scent of hay and horse. As the days turned to weeks, the warm sun of summer turned to crisp coolness of fall. Just as Lily felt her bond with the horses deepening, she sensed something deeper forming between her and Mr. Thompson. The storms of his grief still raged, but little by little he began to soften, a faint smile here, a nod of approval there. One chilly afternoon, with a sprinkle of snow starting to fall, she worked harder than ever, lifting heavy bales of hay and scrubbing stalls with more tenacity. But every time she looked up, she would seek Mr. Thompson's gaze, silently wondering if he saw her efforts. Then came the day that forged their bond anew. Mr. Thompson strolled past, his hands tucked deep in his pockets when he paused to observe her efforts. "You're putting in some good work, I'll give you that," he remarked, surprising her. She said, heart fluttering. He asked, a hint of curiosity sparking in his eyes. "Yes," she replied, her enthusiasm spilling over. She squeaked, barely able to contain her excitement, but a challenge was a challenge. With her heart racing, she immersed herself in caring for the mare, ensuring that every aspect of Bella's needs was met. Each day reinforced her resolve. She was determined to prove to Mr. Thompson that she was worthy. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the week came to an end. As she approached Mr. Thompson, nerves danced in her belly. "I did everything." He studied her for a moment before nodding. The sun hung low in the sky as Mr. Thompson mounted Bella to guide her. She exclaimed. He motioned for her to climb up. With trembling hands and a heart full of hope, she clambered onto Bella's back. Feeling the muscles beneath her, she clutched the reins tightly. Mr. Thompson walked alongside them, his presence grounding her anxiety. "Just hold on," he said, and Lily could feel his quiet confidence in that moment. They started at a gentle walk, and with every sway, every stride, Lily felt her world shift. Suddenly, they were not just a girl and horse, they were a team. The air was electric, filled with excitement. As they strolled through the paddock, laughter bubbled up within her, a sound that had been stifled for far too long. But just as she began to revel in the moment, a sudden crash of thunder sent a shockwave which startled Bella. The mare reared back, hooves scrambling, and Lily clutched the saddle in fear, her heart racing. Mr. Thompson shouted, moving closer as anxiety washed over him. "You can do this, Lily." In a moment of instinct, Lily leaned forward, speaking softly to Bella. "It's all right, girl, I'm with you." To her surprise, Bella hesitated, turning her head toward Lily, seeking comfort in her presence. With a gentle grip on the reins, Lily sensed the mare's fear slowly recede. She whispered. With Mr. Thompson's eyes fixed on them, the bond they shared solidified. The storm roared above, but there, amidst the chaos, they found peace. Slowly, Bella regained her composure, and as the thunder faded into the distance, Lily felt the thrill of victory wash over her. "Well done," Mr. Thompson muttered, surprise lingering in his voice. Over the next few weeks, their bond only deepened, forged through their shared experiences and challenges. They worked together side by side until those icy walls around Mr. Thompson began to melt away. Laughter, once lost to the wind, echoed through the ranch as they found comfort in each other. A new kind of family emerged from within the shadows of their hearts. But then one fateful winter day, as Lily continued her chores, she sensed something was off. The atmosphere felt electric, thick with pressure. She stepped outside, scanning the wide expanse of the ranch, when she noticed a horse alone, shivering against the biting cold one of the young colts that had only just arrived at the ranch. Instinct kicked in. She yelled, racing toward him, guided by a rush of adrenaline. Mr. Thompson caught up with her, his expression etched with worry. "Lily, it's too dangerous," he shouted, gripping her shoulder to halt her movement, but she couldn't stop. She insisted, pushing through the panicky thoughts racing in her mind. He barked, but this time his tone was softer. Abruptly, the gale picked up, howling through the ranch as snow began to swirl around them, but Lily could see the fear in the colt's eyes. She pleaded, her voice barely rising above the storm. Mr. Thompson, his brow furrowed, hesitated for just a moment before leaning closer to her. "We have to show him we mean no harm." Taking a deep breath, they approached the frightened colt side by side, arms reaching out slowly. "Stay calm," Mr. Thompson said, giving Lily the steadiness she needed. With newfound resolve, Lily stepped forward, her voice steady as she gently spoke. "It's all right, little one." The colt quivered, but slowly he took a step toward them, inching closer to the warmth of their presence. With each whisper, they created a blanket of serenity around him, battling the winter's cold with the warmth of their intent. Finally, he let them approach, allowing Lily to cradle his head in her arms. As they stood there, tucked together against the storm, Mr. Thompson's heart softened further. He saw in Lily the spirit of his son, the fearless connection to these creatures that transcended words and fear. It shone brightly in that single moment, igniting something lost within him so long ago. After the storm, days turned into weeks filled with light and laughter, transforming the ranch into a sanctuary. The horses roamed freely, and their spirits flourished due to Lily's growing confidence. Mr. Thompson became her mentor, guiding her through the ups and downs of ranch life, showing her the inner workings of the land he had once guarded so fiercely. Then, under that brilliant sky painted with vibrant colors every evening, came an unexpected moment. Mr. Thompson called for Lily one calm afternoon, his demeanor solemn yet hopeful. She gasped, blinking in disbelief. "Yes," he said, a proud smile spreading across his face. "You've worked hard and you care." Joy erupted within her, spilling out like sunshine breaking through the clouds. "Thank you." With anticipation coursing through her veins, Mr. Thompson led her to the paddock where Bella stood, strong and magnificent. "She's yours now," he declared, his voice steady yet warm. And Lily's heart raced as she approached Bella, gratitude washing over her. "Thank you so much," she whispered as she carefully stroked Bella's mane, feeling the heartbeat beneath her fingers. From that day on, Lily and Bella were inseparable. They traversed meadows and rivers, exploring the beauty of the world around them, creating memories forged in the fire of their connection. Day by day, Lily blossomed into a confident young woman, free from the chains of her past, embracing the future that awaited her. As she rode beneath the slowly setting sun, a sense of wholeness enveloped her. With Bella beneath her and Mr. Thompson watching close by, she felt love and belonging swell in her heart. She had found not just a horse, she had found a home and a family, a life intertwined with wild joy and overflowing hope. The ranch became a vibrant tapestry of life, a testament to healing and resilience. Together, they transformed the sadness of the past into hope for the future, a journey that celebrated connection, love, and the unbreakable bonds formed in the face of adversity. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its golden rays over the valley, Lily understood one profound truth. In the heart of loss, a new life could blossom, bringing together an orphan and a rancher in a way that neither had ever dared to dream. In the stretch of the fields beneath the expansive sky, they found a family forged by the strongest of ties, love, acceptance, and the powerful spirit of joy. Lily stood at the edge of the sprawling Thompson Ranch, a place teeming with life and energy. Just beyond the wooden fence that marked the boundary of her world, she watched horses gallop freely, their hooves pounding the ground like a heartbeat echoing through the valley. The sunlight sparkled against their coats, and for a moment she forgot about the heavy weight of loneliness pressing against her chest. But it was the sight of a majestic chestnut mare that truly captured her heart. Bella had a spirit that seemed to glow from within, and as the mare pranced with grace, Lily felt a pull stronger than any she had ever known. Each day she returned to the fence, mesmerized by the sheer beauty of the horses, but today felt different. Today something inside her urged her forward, igniting a spark of courage she hadn't felt in a long time. She drew a deep breath, her heart racing as she crossed the threshold into the world she yearned to belong to. The gust of wind whipped through her hair, and every step toward the paddock felt like a leap of faith. Before she could change her mind, she reached the gate, pushing it open with trembling hands. Just then she heard a thunderous voice cut through the air. Lily's heart dropped as she turned to face Mr. Thompson, the ranch owner. He was built like a mountain, with a weathered face and eyes that seemed to pierce right through her. The town whispered stories about him, a man broken by loss, a heart hardened by grief. "You shouldn't be on my property," he continued, his tone sharp as a whip. "I just wanted to see the horses," she stammered, the words spilling out before she could think them through. "Seeing isn't enough," he replied, arms crossed defiantly. Tears threatened to spill down her cheeks, but she refused to let fear defeat her. "Please, I love horses." His expression softened for just a moment, the flicker of something human crossing his face. He asked, skeptical yet curious. "I want to more than anything." Her voice rang with determination, hoping against hope that he might see the earnestness in her plea. There was a long silence, the air charged with tension, before he let out a heavy sigh. "Fine, thank you," she exclaimed, exhilaration flooding her veins. And so Lily found herself on the ranch every day, a whirlwind of chores and responsibilities. At first, the work was grueling. She woke at dawn, the morning chill biting at her skin as she mucked out stalls, filled water troughs, and fed hay to the horses. Each task felt monumental, but she was driven, fueled by an unquenchable desire to be close to these beautiful animals. Mr. Thompson observed her in silence, rarely offering praise, but once in a while nodding in approval when she completed a task. He was a hard man, shaped by the loss of his own son, but there was a flicker in his eyes, an ember that Lily hoped to ignite. Weeks passed, and Lily found solace in the rhythm of ranch life. Each day she grew stronger, both in body and spirit. Her confidence began to blossom, and she discovered an undeniable bond with Bella. Little moments, the way Bella would nuzzle her, the way her eyes sparkled with understanding, felt like threads weaving them closer together. But even as the seasons began to change, the shadow of Mr. Thompson's grief loomed large. She sensed the pain etched in his hardened features, and she couldn't help but wonder if he would ever let anyone in again. One crisp autumn day, as leaves fluttered to the ground like whispered secrets, Lily approached Mr. Thompson after finishing an especially challenging task. "Mister," he looked at her, his brow furrowed. "You think you're ready?" she replied, her voice bold in her conviction. "I've been taking care of her." He studied her for a long, thoughtful moment, as if weighing the risks. Gathering his resolve, he eventually nodded. "All right." Her heart leaped with excitement as he led Bella into the paddock. She climbed up onto the mare's back, feeling an adrenaline rush that made her breathless. Mr. Thompson walked alongside them, tension mingling with exhilaration. "Keep your balance," he instructed, "and remember, she'll sense your fear." As they began to trot, everything else fell away. It was just her and Bella, inseparable and soaring through the open air. Each gallop ignited a fire inside her, a feeling of freedom that encapsulated every dream she had ever held. But the joy was short-lived. A loud clap of thunder rolled across the sky, startling Bella. She reared up, hooves flailing, and Lily's heart dropped into her stomach. A wave of panic washed over her as her grip tightened on the reins. "Stay calm," Mr. Thompson shouted, rushing closer. In that moment, Lily had to make a choice, flee or stand firm. "Whoa, Bella," she cried, focusing on the connection between them. To her surprise, Bella steadied, the fear in her eyes fading as Lily spoke softly, reassuringly. Mr. Thompson watched in awe as the bond between the two blossomed into something beautiful. "Good job, kid," he said, a flicker of admiration breaking through his stern facade. As the days turned into weeks, the bond between Lily, Bella, and Mr. Thompson grew deeper. They shared laughter and stories, and through their shared experiences, the echoes of loss began to fade. Lily felt herself transforming from a frightened orphan into a confident girl, while Mr. Thompson found warmth and hope he had thought lost forever. But then winter arrived, cold and unforgiving. One day, as snow began to fall, their world transformed into a white landscape. Lily trudged through the deepening snow to the barn, an unease creeping in with the chill. Something felt off. When she arrived, she found Mr. Thompson pacing near the paddock. "There's one of the colts running loose," he muttered, anxiety tight in his voice. Without thinking, Lily nodded, adrenaline pulsing through her veins as she focused on the task at hand. "I can help," she said. "Stay back," he ordered, the weight of his concern evident. But she couldn't just stand there. "I can do it." Mr. Thompson hesitated, his eyes searching hers. In that moment, something shifted. "Fine, but be careful," he finally relented. They hurried to the paddock, the biting cold nipping at their cheeks. The colt was darting around, frightened and restless, and Lily felt a familiar tug in her heart. "It's okay, buddy," she whispered softly, taking a step closer. The fear radiated from the colt, but she refused to back down. She said, her voice a soothing balm in the frigid air. Working together, she and Mr. Thompson approached the colt, adopting a calm demeanor as they slowly moved forward. "We need to show him we're not a threat," he instructed, and together they formed a united front. As they drew closer, the colt stopped, his breath visible in the cold air. With patience, Lily reached out her hand, palm open, speaking in low tones, "You're safe," and slowly it worked. The colt began inching toward her, a flicker of trust igniting in his wild eyes. In that moment, Lily felt invincible, the bond forming stronger with every word. Finally, as the colt allowed her to touch him, Mr. Thompson stepped back, amazement filling his eyes. "You've got a gift, Lily," he said, pride mixed with acknowledgement. Yet just as she felt the swell of triumph, a sharp noise startled the colt again, an errant branch cracking underfoot. Panic surged within him and he bolted. Lily's heart raced as she followed, knowing they had to act quickly to stop him from running off into the wild. Mr. Thompson shouted, but she dove forward, reaching for the reins dangling by the colt's side. With one swift motion, she managed to grab hold, her determination outpacing her fear. As they came to a halt, Lily felt the triumph of connection wash over her. Through their struggle, they had formed an unbreakable bond, and Mr. Thompson's eyes glimmered with newfound respect. "Okay, kid, you did well," he admitted, a proud smile breaking through his normally stern expression. The following weeks were filled with warmth and laughter, dispelling the chill of winter. Lily and Mr. Thompson transformed the once quiet ranch into a spirited place bursting with life and joy. She grew closer to Bella, the chestnut mare always by her side, while Mr. Thompson found his heart opening to their shared moments, a reminder that healing was possible, even amidst grief. Then came the day she had dreamed of, the day when Mr. Thompson approached her with a glint in his eye. She asked, curiosity bubbling within her. Lily's heart soared. "Yes." "You've learned a lot and I trust you," he said, the sincerity in his voice washing over her like a warm embrace. She shouted, excitement bubbling over as she rushed to the paddock, pouring every ounce of care into preparing Bella for the ride. When she finally mounted the mare, the world fell away. It was just her and Bella racing through the fields, wind tearing through her hair, laughter ringing out in pure joy. In that moment, all the pain, all the fears faded into the background. She was free. As they galloped through the landscape, Mr. Thompson watched from a distance, his heart swelling with pride. He had never imagined he could be a father figure again, a mentor, a friend, to a girl who had transformed his life as much as he influenced hers. Days turned into weeks, and with Bella at her side, Lily blossomed into a remarkable young woman. She faced challenges with courage, her laughter filling the air where once only silence remained. Each ride was a celebration, not just of the bond between girl and horse, but of the family they had forged among the ruins of tragedy. It was on one of those golden days that Lily took a breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on her skin. They stood atop a hill overlooking the ranch, the horses grazing peacefully below. She looked down at Bella and felt a surge of gratitude. "You've changed my life," she whispered, the words barely audible in the gentle breeze. Just then Mr. Thompson approached, a thoughtful expression on his face. "You know, you remind me a lot of my son," he said quietly. Lily turned to him, surprised. He had the same connection with horses, the same spirit. "You've brought that back to me," he admitted, emotion thick in his voice. "I just want to help and be part of something," she replied softly. "You are," he said, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. And in that moment they stood together, not just as an orphan and a rancher, but as a bond forged in love, empathy, and understanding. They had stitched together a new family, one grounded in shared dreams and healing hearts. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting hues of gold and purple across the sky, Lily understood life was no longer just a journey filled with loss. It had transformed into a tapestry woven with love, laughter, and the kind of connection that transcends all odds. In the heart of that valley, surrounded by the feisty freedom of their horses, they forged a new story together, a tale of resilience, of hope, of finding joy amidst sorrow. Lily had gained not only a horse, but a future filled with promises waiting to unfold. The ranch, with all its warmth and spirit, had become her home, her sanctuary, where she had learned that love could heal the deepest wounds. And with that, they rode off into the sunset, two souls united, bound by the unbreakable ties of family, forever changed by the magic of second chances. A sudden clap of thunder echoed through the valley, startling the horses in the paddock. Amidst the chaos, a young girl named Lily stood frozen at the edge of the ranch, her heart racing as she watched the magnificent stallions gallop wildly. It was a storm both outside and within her, one that had brewed in her life ever since she lost everything. Just a year ago, Lily was a carefree girl nestled in a warm home, but after a tragic accident took her parents, the world she knew shattered into 1,000 pieces. Now she lived in an old barn on the outskirts of the Thompson ranch, her only companion the sorrow that echoed in her chest. Every day she watched the horses as they played, their spirits untamed and wild. It was like they knew what it felt like to be lost, and somehow that made her feel connected. Lily gazed longingly at a chestnut mare named Bella. The beauty and power of the horse took her breath away. Bella seemed to embody everything Lily craved: freedom, adventure, and a sense of belonging. Each day she dreamed of riding Bella, soaring through the fields as the wind rushed past. But that dream felt impossibly far away, held back by the looming figure of Mr. Thompson, the ranch's owner. He was known for his gruffness and his refusal to let anyone into his life. Rumors about him flickered through town like shadows. He had lost a son years ago, a boy who had shared his love for horses. Since then, Mr. Thompson had built walls so high and thick that no one could penetrate them, not even a little girl bursting with dreams. But that day, as the storm clouds gathered, Lily felt a powerful urge to act. Summoning all her courage, she approached the paddock. Each step was heavy, filled with a mixture of fear and excitement. She needed to show Mr. Thompson that she was not just an orphan, she was someone who understood the language of horses. The moment she stepped into the paddock, the horses stopped and stared. Lily's heart raced. She took a deep breath and called out. Mr. The rancher emerged from the barn, a frown etched on his weathered face. He barked, his voice deep and commanding like thunder on a clear day. She said, surprised by the strength of her own voice, "I love them." He studied her for a long moment, his eyes hard. "A chance? You think a little girl can take care of horses?" Lily's resolve strengthened. "I know I can." "Why would I let you?" The skepticism in his words was sharp enough to cut, but she refused to back down. "Because if I can be with them, I'll show you." Tears pricked the corners of her eyes, but she fought them back, desperate to prove herself. Finally, with a sigh, Mr. Thompson relented. "Fine, but it won't be easy," Lily exclaimed, warmth flooding her veins. And so, Lily's new life began, filled with responsibilities she had only dreamed of. She woke before dawn each day, the world still wrapped in darkness as she made her way to the barn. The chill of the morning air nipped at her cheeks, but the thought of the horses kept her moving. The rhythm of hard work became familiar, mucking stalls, filling water troughs, scrubbing buckets until they shined. At first, the physical labor exhausted her, but there was a bright spark of hope in her heart that propelled her forward. Each completed task felt like a small victory. Yet every time she saw Mr. Thompson, his coldness wrapped around her like a heavy blanket. He rarely offered praise, his stern expression unyielding. Days turned into weeks, and as the leaves turned golden with autumn, Lily found herself drawn deeper into the world of the ranch. The horses became her solace, especially Bella. Slowly, she built a relationship with the chestnut mare, feeding her carrots and talking to her as if they were old friends. Bella exhibited a gentle spirit, allowing Lily to brush her coat and whisper her secrets into the warmth of her fur. One crisp autumn evening, while the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, she summoned the courage to ask Mr. Thompson for something she had longed for. "Mr." She called, her voice stronger than she felt. He looked at her with skepticism. "You think you're ready, please?" she insisted, the fire in her heart igniting. Mr. Thompson studied her, weighing the risks. Finally, after what felt like hours, he released a long sigh. "All right." With exhilaration dancing in her heart, she hurried to the paddock the following day, excitement bubbling over as Mr. Thompson guided Bella. As he helped her mount, she felt a rush of energy, every nerve ending alive with anticipation. "Hold on tight," he instructed before leading Bella out, "and remember, she can sense your fear." And there it was, the moment of exhilaration. As Bella stepped forward, everything faded into the background. At last, Lily felt weightless as they moved together, the rhythm of hooves echoing like a heartbeat beneath her. Freedom washed over her, and for the first time since she lost her parents, she could feel that she truly belonged. But just as bliss enveloped her, a rumbling growl of thunder rolled across the sky, startling Bella. In a flash, the mare reared and Lily's heart shot into her throat. Panic coursed through her as she clung to the saddle, her eyes wide with fear. Mr. Thompson shouted, rushing to her side. Tears threatened to spill over, but something deep inside surged. "It's okay, Bella." For a moment, her voice broke through the chaos. Bella hesitated, the fear in her eyes calming as she looked at Lily. In that moment, a magical bond formed between the girl and the mare. Slowly, Bella steadied, and Mr. Thompson took a step back, astonishment flickering in his eyes. Those words hung heavy in the air, wrapping around her like a warm blanket. As the days gave way to months, an undeniable connection blossomed between Lily, Bella, and even Mr. Thompson. They began to share moment, stories exchanged during long summer nights, laughter echoing against the barn walls. Slowly, warmth overtook the coldness that had once defined the ranch. Lily worked tirelessly, proving herself day in and day out. With each chore, she felt more confident, and the distance between her and Mr. Thompson began to shrink. Yet she sensed his grief still shadowed him, lingering like the remnants of a storm. One chilly winter morning, as snow fell in fluffy white clouds, Lily felt uneasy. Something in the air seemed to crackle with tension. She hurried to the barn, eyes darting around as she searched for Mr. Thompson. When she found him pacing beside the paddock, he was deep in thought, worry etched across his face. He called, urgency in his voice. She asked, her pulse quickening. "Winter's hit hard. We've got a colt who's injured and holed up in the far pasture. If he gets scared, he could run into the woods." Without hesitation, determination flooded her veins. "I can help." He looked at her, instinctively wanting to shield her from danger. "I know horses," she urged, her voice stronger than ever. With a reluctant nod, he replied, "Fine." Together, they trudged through the snow, the world silent except for the crunch of their boots against the icy ground. As they approached the far pasture, the sight of the frightened colt stunned her. He stood trembling, eyes wild with panic. "Stay behind me," Mr. Thompson instructed, but Lily couldn't stand back. She insisted, taking a step forward. He urged, but her heart was set. As she moved closer, the colt's fear seemed to match her own. "It's okay," she said softly, her voice a gentle breeze amid the cold. In that frozen moment, the world around them faded. She took another step, extending her hand towards the skittish colt. "You're safe with me." To her amazement, he moved closer, inching towards her outstretched hand as the tension in his body began to ease. Mr. Thompson stood back now, watching the connection unfold, astonished by Lily's instinct and courage. "Great job," he muttered under his breath, a mix of admiration and relief flooding through him. With careful movements, Lily approached the colt until she was within reach. "See, you're not alone," she whispered, feeling the warmth of the moment surge through her. Just as she was beginning to think they had made a breakthrough, a sudden rustle in the bushes startled the colt again. In a panic, he galloped away, his wild energy scattering snow in every direction. She shouted, fear gripping her heart as she chased after him. Mr. Thompson yelled, his voice filled with panic as he joined her pursuit. They ran together, heartbeats pounding in rhythm with the hooves thundering in front of them. But as they chased the colt, her mind raced with thoughts. Could she really connect with him? She had to try. She called after him, her breath forming misty clouds in the air. The colt slowed, glancing back, his fear evident, but perhaps a glimmer of hope sparked in his eyes. "Lily, wait," Mr. Thompson shouted, but she took a deep breath and pushed forward, pouring every ounce of trust into her voice. "It's okay, I'm not here to hurt you." With every word, she reached out her hand, urging him to see the truth in her eyes. Surprisingly, he hesitated, finally inching back toward her. "That's it, you can trust me," she coaxed, her heart soaring as he took another cautious step. Finally, she felt the reins slip through her fingers, and she grasped at the colt's bridle, steadying his trembling frame against her. "You're going to be okay," she whispered, relief flooding through her. For a moment they stood together, breathless amidst the swirling snow, and in that instant a new bond formed. Mr. Thompson looked on, a mixture of awe and something deeper flickering in his eyes. "Good work, kid," he said, his voice thick with emotion. The incident had ignited a fire within both Lily and Mr. Thompson. It became clear that love was a dynamic force capable of transforming hearts and lives in ways they never thought possible. As winter turned to spring, life on the ranch became an oasis of beauty and warmth. Lily blossomed, taking charge of new responsibilities, while Mr. Thompson began to emerge from the shadows of his grief. Their laughter filled the air, mingling with the joyous whinnies of horses, creating a symphony of life. Then came the day Lily had longed for, a moment that had been building steadily like a crescendo. Mr. Thompson approached her and said, "Lily, I've been thinking." Her heart nearly stopped. She asked in disbelief, her eyes wide with hope. "Absolutely, you've earned it," he said, a smile breaking across his face, lighting up the corners of his eyes. "Thank you," she shouted, tears welling as joy bubbled inside her. With excitement coursing through her, she followed him to the paddock where Bella stood, as stunning as ever. "She's yours now," Mr. Thompson said, his voice filled with pride. In that moment, a wave of emotion washed over her. This was more than just a horse, it was a dream realized, an affirmation of her journey. "I will take care of her," she exclaimed, overflowing with gratitude. From then on, Lily and Bella were inseparable. Together, they ventured into sprawling fields, forging paths through long grasses and rushing streams. As they galloped together, joy enveloped her like sunlight breaking through clouds, filling the empty spaces of her heart. Life continued to blossom on the ranch, stitched together by laughter, challenges, and love. Mr. Thompson no longer stood alone, his heart open to the warmth Lily brought into his life. He shared stories of his son and began to find joy in the simple moments, reminding him that healing was still possible. And one starry night, as they sat on the porch overlooking the glow of the ranch, Mr. Lily looked at him, a smile lighting her face. Under the moonlit sky, they watched as Bella and the other horses grazed peacefully, a flicker of fulfillment soaring within them. In that moment, Lily understood she was no longer just an orphan. She was part of a family forged from shared dreams, connected by the love of the horses and a bond that could weather any storm. In the heart of that valley, where once only echoes of loss lingered, stood a young girl and a rancher, now united by the most powerful force of all hope. Together, they forged a story of healing, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of love that turned orphan dreams into a life worth living. Lily stood before the dazzling sight of the ranch, her heart racing like a drumbeat in her chest. The golden light of the morning sun spilled across the fields, illuminating horses as they galloped freely, their powerful forms cutting through the cool autumn air. She could barely breathe as she watched them, a longing overwhelming her. Just a few feet away near the fence, a handsome chestnut mare Bella caught her eye. Bella pranced with such grace, like poetry in motion. In that moment, it felt as though every dream Lily had ever had was wrapped up in that horse. She wanted to touch her, to feel that energy pulse through her fingertips, to find the courage to call the mare her own. But Lily couldn't just stroll up, she had no right to. The harsh reality of her life crushed her spirit like the fading colors of an evening sky. Orphaned after a tragic accident that took her parents, she had spent months living in an abandoned barn on the outskirts of the Thompson Ranch. The townspeople whispered about Mr. Thompson, the brooding rancher who had lost everything. His son had been a gifted writer, and they said the sorrow carved deep lines into his face, lines that seemed to tell stories of heartbreak and loss. Lily felt a tug of empathy toward the lonely man. She wanted to connect with the horses, but she also wanted to help him heal. It was a silly thought, yet it burrowed deep within her heart. As she watched Bella leap gracefully, her own heart swirled with hope, desperation, and a flicker of courage. Then, without quite realizing what she was doing, she stepped forward, closing the distance between herself and the ranch. The world faded behind her, and as she approached the gate, she felt the weight of the moment settle around her like a cloak. The sharpness of Mr. Thompson's voice startled her, and she froze in her tracks. He stood at his barn, arms crossed, the sun casting a long shadow behind him. "I just wanted to see the horses," Lily stammered, her courage faltering under the weight of his imposing presence. He narrowed his eyes, and she felt the sting of tears threaten to spill over. "No. I mean, I love horses, then why should I let you watch them? You'll just disturb them," he replied, his voice cold and unyielding. The lump in her throat tightened. She knew she had to convince him, but how? "I can help you, I can take care of them." Silence filled the air, stretching into what felt like an eternity. He studied her, and she could see the flicker of something, maybe disbelief or anger or just plain wariness, but it ignited her determination. "I promise I'll work hard," she said, her voice more steady now, a powerful note of conviction surfacing amid her fear. For a long moment he didn't respond, and she feared he might dismiss her outright. Then finally, after what felt like forever, he let out a heavy sigh. "Fine, but you better not waste my time. Thank you." A flicker of hope ignited inside her as she turned toward the barn. Days passed, and as the sun rose and fell, so did Lily's existence at the ranch. She rose before dawn, the chill morning air biting against her skin as she began the hard work of mucking stalls, filling water buckets, and sweeping the barn floors. It was exhausting labor, far from the carefree life she once knew. But each task brought her a bit closer to the life she yearned for, one filled with horses, trust, and the sense of belonging she had long thought lost. Mr. Thompson watched her closely, his expression a stone wall of skepticism. "You're not doing it right," he would bark, his words cutting into her like a whip. But with each word, she planted her feet a little deeper into the ground, determined to prove herself. She took pride in her work, every sweeping motion of the broom strong and determined, until that first day she dared to approach Bella. Lily would often slip away to the paddock during her breaks, offering Bella apples and carrots, whispering her dreams and fears into the warm air, as if sharing the deepest corners of her heart. Slowly, the mighty mare began to warm to her. The small moments in the barn became tangible milestones to her, as if every breath she took in Bella's presence filled her with hope. But one fateful afternoon, the calmness of the ranch shattered. Dark clouds rolled overhead, and the winds howled like distant ghosts wailing for release. Lily finished up her chores and hesitated. She loved the feeling of being with Bella, but would she be able to see her now? Mr. Thompson shouted from the barn. Just then, a roar of thunder cracked across the sky like a whip. The rain poured in heavy sheets, and the horses began to panic, their nervous energy rising. In a moment of instinct, Lily rushed toward the paddock, knowing she had to comfort Bella. "Bella," she called into the storm, heart pounding as she approached the frightened mare. She could see the fear in Bella's eyes, a reflection of her own. Suddenly, Mr. Thompson was beside her, frantic. "Get back," Lily shouted, determination igniting within her. But before either of them could react, Bella broke free, bolting toward the far end of the paddock. Lily's heart sank as she watched her mare run. "Bella," she cried, but the storm only kept surging, drowning out her voice. Mr. Thompson yelled, his eyes wide with panic, but it was too late. She sprinted after Bella, chasing her across the yard, the wet grass slipping beneath her feet. "You can trust me." Every muscle in her body screamed as she pressed forward, keeping her eyes locked on Bella's dove-like figure darting through the storm, desperation fueling her. The rumble of thunder echoed in the distance, a fierce reminder of the chaos that surrounded them. In an unexpected surge, moments turned into an exhilarating ride, her heart racing with fear, determination fueling her steps. As she neared the boundary, she stretched out her hands, calling softly, "It's okay, Bella." Lily dared to move closer, willing her heart to remain steady to reach the frightened creature. As Bella hesitated, something in the air changed, and unspoken understanding sparked between them, and the wild panic began to ebb. For a fleeting moment, she saw trust flicker in Bella's eyes, the fear melting away. "That's it," she whispered, feeling like she could finally reach her. As the wind howled, Lily took a deep breath and gently caught the reins. It was a small victory, but in that moment, something larger shifted within them both. "You're safe now," she promised, relief washing over her like the rain that drenched her clothes. And then, as if sensing the victory they had shared, Bella took a few calming steps toward Lily, ears flicking back, tail lowering, her spirit gradually returning to peace. Mr. Thompson stood back, marveling at what had just unfolded. "You did it," he breathed, the awe apparent in his voice. Waves of pride surged through her, connecting them at that moment in a new way. From that day on, things began to shift on the ranch. As the seasons changed, Lily grew more comfortable among the horses and closer to Mr. Thompson. While the emotional walls he had built were still strong, she began to see glimpses of the man he once was, the joy, the laughter buried beneath grief. With each passing day, the bond between them deepened. They began to share stories. He told tales of his son, the boy who had ridden and roamed those very fields. Lily listened intently, feeling as though she were weaving a tapestry of connection, pain, loss, and hope all intertwined. It was during those quiet afternoons when she dared to ask, "Mr." His gaze sharpened and skepticism ebbed back in. "Yes," she insisted, her heart pounding, daring to hope. The old rancher scrutinized her as if searching for signs of trepidation. Finally, he sighed. "All right, thank you," she exclaimed, determination bubbling over. Lily didn't waste a second. The day came, crisp and bright, as they headed to the paddock. Heart racing, she mounted Bella with Mr. Thompson guiding her through each step. "Check your posture, hold the reins gently, and breathe." As they began to walk, Lily's nerves transformed into exhilaration. Then with one squeeze of her legs, they broke into a trot, and it felt as if the world fell away. Time paused, and the only heartbeat she sensed was that of Bella beneath her. But just then, a clap of thunder shattered the peaceful day. Bella jolted, rearing up as pure panic shot through her. Lily's heart plummeted, fear stretching tightly around her chest. "No, no, Bella," she pleaded, feeling the power of the mare beneath her. Mr. Thompson shouted, but all the noise drowned out her thoughts. In that electrifying moment, Lily remembered how she had calmed Bella before. "You're safe," she absolutely pleaded, positioning herself in the saddle, speaking softly and earnestly. Slowly, Bella began to settle, and as the echo of her thumping heart faded, Lily felt a swell of triumph within her. As they trotted back to the barn, something shifted again, a valuable connection forged anew. The days turned into weeks, and with every ride, with every challenge, the bond kept growing. Mr. Thompson began to let go of his hard exterior. Laughter became more frequent, joy replaced the heaviness, and the ranch began to thrive once more. Yet as spring approached, a sense of uncertainty lingered. On a particularly sunny afternoon while tending to Bella, Lily felt a strange unease. The weather was growing unpredictable, storms on the horizon. With each passing day, the tension grew, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. Then came the day she returned to the barn and found Mr. Thompson sitting on a stool, brow furrowed, lost in thought. "Mister," she ventured, concerned. "We've got a problem," he said, his voice low and filled with worry. "The storm is expected to hit tonight and the horses need to be brought in, but there's one, the new colt." Lily felt a rush of anxiety. "I can help, I know him." "No, it's too dangerous," he countered, his expression hardening with insistence, but her heart raced with determination and fear. "I can do it." Mr. Thompson's gaze softened momentarily, but then his face twisted with frustration. "Lily, you don't understand the dangers out there. I can't just leave him," she implored, her voice rising. For a moment they stood locked in a tense battle of wills, the storm swirling outside like an ominous foreshadowing of the chaos that lay ahead. "Okay," he finally relented, but she could feel the weight of his worry in the air. "But you stay close." As they began their search, the wind howled like a beast unleashed, flinging raindrops like arrows against their skin. The world turned gray, obscured by sheets of rain that made it difficult to see beyond the next step. Mr. Thompson yelled over the storm, guiding their path through the gusts of wind. But as they searched the vastness of the ranch, anxiety gnawed at Lily's heart. The thought of the frightened colt stirred something in her guts. What if they didn't find him? What if it was too late? Then suddenly she spotted a shadow moving behind a thicket, and her heart soared. She shouted, adrenaline rushing through her veins. They hurried toward the thicket, but just as they emerged, the wind whipped up, and before they could react, a sudden crack of thunder exploded overhead, sending the colt bolting in panic. "Lily," Mr. Thompson yelled, but it was too late. She was already rushing after him, fear and determination intertwining. "Wait," but the darkness enveloped them, the storm raging like an angry beast, and as she chased after the colt, the storm took on a life of its own. Mr. Thompson's voice echoed behind her. In that moment, as the world spun into chaos, Lily pushed through, the rain blurring her vision. She wouldn't let fear stop her. She called out for the colt, her heart and steady voice breaking through the storm. "Come back, I'm not here to hurt you." But as the panic settled deeper into her chest and the wind whipped around her, the uncertainty of what lay ahead began to sink in. And just as she ran into the darkness, the storm raging overhead, she had no idea that her subsequent steps would redefine their lives forever. Would she find him? Would they bring the colt back to safety? The tumult of nature and heart echoed louder than ever as the storm bore down around them, the true test of courage looming ever closer. In those fleeting moments, as thunder cracked the sky, Lily felt something shift within her. She could no longer turn back. She was on the precipice of something monumental, and it was just beginning.